As we all know, the Rite of Spring is going to be 100 years old this year, which is near incomprehensible, as there is hardly a piece that feels younger, fresher in the entire repertoire. There are works, especially in the field of music, there are works that feel and sound old when they're 5 years old. And then there are pieces that feel as if they had been written yesterday. Rite of Spring is one of them. Those kind of works that seem to come out of nowhere and afterwards nothing is the way it was. Stravinsky kind of knew that he was creating something unprecedented. He had no models, really. Now we know that a lot of the melodic material came from Lithuanian folk songs, a fact that he wasn't advertising very much. He could play the last part of the piece, the Danse Sacrale. He could play it on the piano, and he played it for his friends, but he didn't know how to write it down. And he actually made several attempts at it, and the first ones didn't work very well. And even the first version that was performed, he had to rewrite later because it was just not practical. The Scandal, which of course in Paris is the best way to become immortal, it's a very highly unusual story, but not completely unlike that of, say, the Seventh Symphony of Beethoven, which was described as something written by a madman or somebody who has been seriously drunk at the time, both of which might have been true, but it doesn't change the fact that we're dealing with something that is seemingly coming out of the blue. A lot has changed, of course. This has become one of the most beloved concert pieces in the entire repertoire, and of course the challenge for a conductor and an orchestra is to somehow get rid of that image and try to kind of go back to the original shock value. The goal is to make this sound something that still has a great element of danger and risk. It's no longer an intellectual challenge because all the rhythms are, any high school kid can play these rhythms, and counting the rhythms of the Rite of Spring is simple. But what make, and quite often does, great fiction is the sheer physical challenge. That the timpani player has to be like a mad squirrel trying to hit all these timps, which are far apart. And of course the conductor must know where to stop, because there's obviously a moment when none of this is possible any longer. But I get a lot of pleasure out of pushing my guys to a place which is well beyond their comfort zone, but still within the physical limits of these extremely skilled and dedicated players. I'm not so sure they get as much pleasure out of that, but the whole point is not to make this music sound familiar or comfortable. I must have done something like 3,000 concerts at this point in my life, and when we come to the last few bars before the Danse Sacrale starts in the Rite of Spring, I feel this surge of adrenaline. Fantastic. It's the sort of stress reaction, you know, that like an animal. And that's my reaction exactly before the bass clarinet goes. And I love it because it really keeps me alive. And I've done this piece God knows how many times. It's in the hundreds now, but and it never fails. When we get to that spot, I know, okay, Salonen, now we have to be with it. Nothing is allowed. You really have to perform, and I love that feeling.